Hi guys, and welcome back to class. Today, we are going to start off by examining a photograph that's on page 30 of Claudette Colvin. I will have a link to this photo uploaded into Schoology. And I want you to answer the question, how does this photograph develop your understanding of what it was like to ride the bus in the era of segregation? So looking at that photo, what do you feel like it might have felt like to ride on the bus? Now let's look at the word medium. Medium is a noun used here, and it means the way information or ideas are communicated. So why might it be important to examine Claudette's story in different mediums? So for example, you might an example of a medium might be watching a video clip. It might be reading a book. It might be looking at a photograph. It might be looking at a sculpture. And all of those things could kind of explore or explain Claudette Colvin's experience, right? Like I can look at a video and that could give me information about how Claudette Colvin may have felt or things that she went through, but I may also be able to, read a book and find out information about what she went through. So based off of knowing that there's multiple mediums for being able to learn information, why is it important that we examine and look at multiple mediums and not just only read books? Why should we also look at sculptures and paintings and videos to get the point across? Now moving on, our essential question is, how do people affect social change? And our focusing question is, what motivated Claudette Colvin? Our content framing question in our reveal stage says, what does a deeper exploration of Claudette Colvin's story in different mediums reveal? And in our examine craft stage, why is it important to assess sources? And our craft question in our examine stage says, why is it important to listen for purpose? So we have two craft questions for this lesson. Today's reveal is, what does a deeper exploration of Claudette Colvin's story in different mediums reveal? So moving on, what would someone that was educated say? What did they think of African Americans at the time? So I want you to look here on this page. What is significant about Claudette Colvin's particular choice of phrasing when she says constitutional right, which is on page 34? What kind of language is she using? So I want you to think about the fact that she used constitutional right. What does that say to us about her education? What did they think of African Americans at this time based off of what she's saying here? What is the effect of Claudette Colvin's precise choice of language in unfolding of the events on the bus? What is the effect of Claudette's silence in this moment? Why do you think Philip House chose for so much of chapter 4 to be in Claudette's own voice? So when you look at chapter 4, based off of your homework last night, you should have realized that there were a lot of areas where Claudette Colvin was the one that was talking and not the author. And so why would Philip House, who's the author, have chosen to write it from Claudette Colvin's own voice? Up to this point, you have analyzed the importance of Claudette Colvin's personal account in print text, but you have not yet heard her speak in her own voice. Let's watch and discuss a video of Claudette telling the story of her arrest and what motivated her to take action. So I'm going to have this link located inside of Schoology for you to watch a video on Claudette Colvin, who was the original Rosa Parks, to hear how she felt in her account of what happened to her back then. Now moving on to our first examine. Why is it important to listen for the purpose? So when you listen to that, you might want to ask yourself, why might it be important to listen to Claudette Colvin's first person account? How does the video convey the story of the events on the bus? And how does it convey Claudette Colvin's motivations for taking action? Now, let's look at handout 6A, which says evaluation of mediums. What are some advantages and disadvantages of video as a medium? So why would a video be good to watch, and why would a video not be good to watch? Now I want you to review pages 34 through 36 in the novel and complete the second part of handout 6A. What was the strongest category for each medium? And how does the key sentence or phrase you identified in the video compare with print text? So in other words, what information did you get more out of? What information did you get from the video that you didn't get from the text, and so forth? So you're basically going to be comparing the two. Now let's look at our second examine for this lesson. And I want us to ask ourselves, why is it important to assess sources? So to assess means to determine the qualities and the significance of something. So why would it be important to assess sources in a research project? Well, there's many reasons why it's important that you look at what you're going to use. So like if I'm asking you to research a paper on the history of the making of the first car, you want to make sure that the source that you use is a reliable source. So you don't want to go to Wikipedia because anyone can go in Wikipedia and edit it. So you don't know if that information is accurate. So you have to assess if the information is accurate. So that means looking at who wrote it, looking at the title, looking at all of the different factors, and that's what's going to help you determine if that source is accurate or not. What do you know about this photograph? So let's go back to the photograph that we looked at the beginning. Remember, the link is going to be inside of Schoology. And then also, why is the photograph significant to your understanding of Claudette Colvin, Twice Towards Justice? So in other words, what information did the photograph provide for you that helped you understand the book? And what do you know about this photograph? How does reading and hearing Claudette's story in her own voice affect your understanding of the issues and the events that took place in the book? Remember that when you encounter a new source, you should remember to assess it so you know assess what you know about the source before trying to determine whether or not it is significant to your research. To end today's lesson in our reveal stage, it says, what does a deeper exploration of Claudette Colvin's story in different mediums reveal? And how does reading and hearing Claudette's story in her own voice affect your understanding of the issues and events in the book? For tonight's homework, I want you guys to read chapters 5, page 39 through 49 of Claudette Colvin and annotate for responses from the community to Claudette's stand against injustice. So in other words, when you read that section, how did the community react to her taking a stand and speaking out against the injustice that was taking place on the bus? Also complete your fluency handwork on handout A. Now moving on to our vocabulary deep dive. We're going to be looking at the word justifiable, the morpheme just, and the word justice. So use justifiable in a sentence to summarize the events of chapter 4. The word just is a morpheme and it means right or law. And the word justice means fairness, equality, or moral righteousness, or the fulfillment of the law. So if something is justice, that means that it is right. If something is justice, that means that you're getting justice. Like if someone ran over someone with their car and then they ran away, you want to get justice to make sure that they pay for what they did because that's wrong. No one should be allowed to be able to hurt people without being punished because it's just, it's law, it's the right thing to do. So notice that the morpheme just is in the word justice as well as it was in the word justifiable. So now that you know what the root of just means, examine the meaning and the use of justice and justifiable. Now I want you to summarize Claudette's arrest from two different perspectives. I want you to write one sentence that summarizes Claudette's perspective about her arrest, and one sentence that justifies the police officer's perspective of Claudette's arrest, using the word justice or justifiable. All right, guys, that's going to be it for today's lesson. If you guys need any help, please come to office hours Monday through Friday, 11:22 to 12:06. Thank you.